to the first fires around which our distant ancestors gathered, inspired by dark places beyond the light of the fire and the reptiles that lived there. I'm much more skeptical that they are some sort of species memory of dinosaurs, but let's not rule that out. Regardless, the way we see dragons depends on where we are in the world. In the West, the image of the fire-breathing four-legged winged beast arose in the High Middle Ages. Perhaps a variation on Satan, the Western dragon is often evil, greedy, and clever, and usually hoarding some terrible treasure. There are the dragons of the East, long snake-like creatures seen as symbols of good fortune and associated with water. Serpentine dragons, like the Naga, are found in India and in many Hindu cultures, and are similar to the Indonesian Naga or Nogo dragons. Japanese dragons like Ryujin, the dragon god of the sea, are also water creatures, and so on around the world. Lizard or serpent-like features are a constant, but the dragon itself may or may not take human form, can be a creature of any of the four elements, air, earth, fire, or water, may crave wealth or not, and may or may not be able to take flight. But it will live at the heart of its story, as the dragons do in the stories in the book you now hold. The Book of Dragons grew out of my desire to spend some time with a new group of dragons and the people who encounter them, and so I turned to some of the best writers of science fiction and fantasy of our time and asked them to tell you the story of their dragon, the one that filled their dreams. And they responded with a bestiary of dragons as rich and varied as you could wish for. In these pages, you will encounter dragons on distant worlds as they follow us out to the stars, in the rain-drenched mountains of the Malay Peninsula, in the barn, and living just next door. They are alternately funny and fearsome, fiery and water-drenched, but they are all remarkable. The stories and poems in the pages here, from Daniel Abraham, Kelly Barnhill, Peter S. Beagle, Brooke Bollander, Beth Cato, Zen Cho, C.S.E. Cooney, Aliette de Bodard, Kate Elliott, Amal El-Mohtar, Sarah Gailey, Theodora Goss, Ellen Klages, R.F. Kwang, Anne Leckie and Rachel Swirsky, Ken Liu, Scott Lynch, Todd McCaffrey, Shannon Maguire, Patricia A. McKillip, Garth Nix, K.J. Parker, Kelly Robson, Michael Swanwick, Joe Walton, L. Catherine White, Jane Yollen, and J.Y. Yang are all I could have wished for, and I hope you will love them just as much as I do. Jonathan Strahan, Perth, Australia, 2019.
What Heroism Tells Us. Jane Yollen. There is the smell of the heroic in the air, a pair of hawks circling their nest at feeding time, rabbits escaping the talons and claws of destiny, the flesh of Impala laughing in the hyena's mouth, flash of sword repeating in the dragon's eye, the princess rappelling down the tower on a rope of her own hair. Even more, I think it's the sight of you, my friend, pulling love out of despair, snatching happiness from the ash of winter, pushing open the closed door, letting in spring. Matriculation. L. Catherine White. L. Catherine White, lcatherinewhite.com, was born and raised in Buffalo, New York, where she learned valuable life skills, like how to clear a snowy driveway in under 20 minutes, a lot easier than you think, and how to cheer for the perennial underdog, a lot harder than you think. She is the author of the Hearthstone series, Hearthstone, Dragon Shadow, and Flamebringer. When she's not writing, she spends her time reading, drinking tea, and having strong feelings about fictional characters. She should have been ticketed. The cops stationed on the roof stared at her as she flew past, heedless of the portable speed scryer screaming in her hand, her mouth open in a perfect O. Mealy caught the briefest glimpse, only heard the radar's beep as a smudge of sound whipped past by the wind, but she blessed whoever had assigned a rookie to this route. Clearly the cop had never seen a dragon before. By the time she had recovered, Mealy was already out of sight. Landing in Pawn Row was always tricky, and Mealy sensed, rather than saw, the undead eyes peering at her from